Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Here I'm Ayubi Fitan. I would like to explain about the case study. Is Wagyu beef halal for Muslim to be consumed? Before that, I'll explain about the what is Wagyu beef. Wagyu is the beef from Japan cattle. This beef is different from other beef usually because they have wet marbling textures, and these are example from the Wagyu beef. The case study for this is why Wagyu beef is considered as makruh or haram for Muslim to be consumed, because the cattle are being fed is different as usual. That makes the beef is totally different with other beef. And with the presence of intramuscular fat or IMF, which is the fat between the muscle of the cow, marbling in Wagyu beef becomes the meat that we can consume. But the case study is some people give the alcohol or the cattle are being fed with alcohol that affect to their IMF, that makes the beef or marbling is greater than others. And this issue become discussion because it is involved as a Aljalalah animal, because we also know alcohol is type of haram product. And to consider is this halal or haram food, which is determined for its condition and the method of slaughtering, such as they must be healthy, free from disease, free from haram food, and they have to be slaughtered by Islamic law in order halal to be consumed for Muslim. Okay, next to the next presenter.
From the previous explanation, we can understand that Wagyu beef is one of the Aljalalah animals. But the question is it permissible for us to eat or not? So here, I would like to share some opinion from 4 schools of thoughts. Okay, let's start with Hanafi school of thought. So, according to Hanafi schools, they view that Aljalalah animal is makruh tanzihi to be eaten. And there are 2 conditions where the Aljalalah animals cannot be eaten. So, the first one is if the food is najis and dirt, and also they doesn't eat anything else. And the second one is the sting of impurity appears on its flesh. However, it is permissible to eat when the food is mixed between clean and dirt, and as well as the animal itself have to be quarantined until the full odor is disappears. Okay, in contrast, the Maliki school say that eating Aljalalah animals is mubah to be eat. But Imam Malik himself view that eating Aljalalah animals is makruh. Okay, next is Shafi'i school views that its Aljalalah animal is makruh tanzihi if the majority of its foods is impurities, as well as there is a full odor on its flesh, and this view is supported by Imam An-Nawawi. In addition, the rulings from makruh tanzihi could be turned to mubah, which is permissible when the animal is quarantined until the odor of impurity is disappear. Shafi'i's views is much similar to Hanbali school's views, where they say that it is haram or prohibited to eat or consume Aljalalah animals, but after the quarantine process, it is permissible to eat. Thus, the Rajah opinion of eating Aljalalah animals is makruh, but after the quarantine process, it is clean or tahir. So, it is permissible to be consumed, as there is a illah or reason for the prohibition of eating Aljalalah is due to the sting of animal flesh. So, the illah will disappear by the process of quarantine. This is based on the method when the illah is disappear, then the rule is not valid. So, we can conclude that eating Wagyu beef is permissible after quarantine process.
I'm Mirza. I will continue on the process of al-istibra. So, one of the method used to purify Aljalalah animal is called as al-istibra, which means quarantine. The animal must be quarantined for several days and be fed with clean food until it loses its odor and the effect of najis on it. There are different school of thoughts on the quarantine period of the Aljalalah animal. I will focus on the quarantine period on cow or cattle, which being used for Wagyu beef. Firstly, Hanafi school stated that the cattle or cow need to be quarantined for 10 days. Meanwhile, Shafi'i and Hanbali share the same thought on the period of quarantine of cattle or cow, which is by 40 days. Based on this different view of Muslim Jewish, it is stated that the status of Aljalalah after quarantine is tahir, clean, and permitted to be consumed. Nowadays, there is halal Wagyu beef that can be consumed by the Muslim that not being fed with alcoholic drink, so that Muslim not worried of its status anymore. However, Muslim needs to carefully look for halal official logo for Wagyu beef, which is this one.
You know that Malaysia approved the import of Wagyu beef from Japan after 2 processing plants that passed the Department of Islamic Development or JAKIM audits for halal compliance. The plants are Zenkai Meat Corporation of the Kumamoto Prefecture and Nishiawa Beef of Tokushima Prefecture. This means that halal Wagyu beef from Japan is now commercially available in Malaysia and also in Indonesia. Majelis Ulama Indonesia also approved the certification halal to Zenkai Meat Corporation of the Kumamoto Prefecture. Actually, in Indonesia and Malaysia have the same view about Wagyu beef. JAKIM and MUI provide halal certification to Wagyu beef companies that have been confirmed through a halal process. This halal certification is only for tested companies. It can be concluded that not all Wagyu beef is halal, and according to Nahdlatul Ulama Indonesia, the consumption of Wagyu remains halal with makruh if until the time of slaughter the cow is still given to drink sake or tuak. But if before the slaughter, in a certain period of time, the cow is sterilized with the cessations of giving sake, then the Wagyu meat remains halal without makruh. So, we can conclude that not all Wagyu beef is halal, and we can only eat Wagyu beef that has received a halal certification from the government.